مدبرا منعما عليهم جميع النعم ثم خلق في قلبه ميل إليه ومحبة به وأراد التقرب منه ورفع الحاجات إليه
وأطرح لديه أطرح يطرح إطراحا
وأطرح لديه فمن مصيب في هذا القصد ومخطئ
إلى آخره. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على النبي الكريم محمد وآله وأصحابه أجمعين. So before Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi mentioned that Allah has put this talent in the nature of human to avail the felicity and the sa'adat haqiqi. So he mentioned that originally in brief and summarized way, how someone will receive sa'adat haqiqi and will avail it. So he said that that is possible only through ibadat. But he said that ibadat have different fields and forms. So he has to avail a few khaslas or a few habits or practices. So these are so many. But he mentioned four that in brief I can mention to you that he has to have number one the taharat, number two the ikhbat, number three the samahat, and number four the adalat. But Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says that all these four qualities, they have barriers between the person and these qualities. So he does not avail it. They have curtains between the person and these qualities as well. So these are called hujub mani'a. So Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says that these hujub and barriers can be so many, but three of them, these are very apparent and obvious. Number one, the personal nature of a person. So that is one barrier, that because of his nature, he cannot or does not avail these qualities. Or he is living in an environment or community where there are customs, conventions and usages. So these usages, he is that much committed to these usages and customs that these customs have become a barrier between him and those qualities, so he cannot avail it. And number three, lack of knowledge, that he is not that clever a man or a wise a man to know and recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perfectly or to a great extent, so he may try to avail these qualities. Now Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says that the first one, which is the nature of a human, that is called nafs, that his nafs is like this. And nafs is a combination of, Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says, number one, every person has requirements, and three requirements are much more basic and much more needy. Others are is hawashi. What? Hawashi, addendas. Got it? But these three are the basic things, that these are his requirements. Number one, the eating. Number two, the drinking. And number two, the shahwat. Yes, the sex. Because they are living entities, so they are in need of that. And Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says that situation happens, so certain forms are happening to the guy as well, like happiness, grief, anger, and fear. Now, these things happen to everyone almost. Is there anyone these things are not happening to? Say, this is life, so all these things are happening. And then his nafs is looking not at this after effect, but the cause and the reason, that what caused me this anger, or what caused me this grief, or what gave me this happiness, or what caused me this fear, which is called the causes and the reasons. So he is focusing on that. So then his ilmi quwa or ilmi power, they have an imprint of these things on ilmi quwa. So that's why the moment he is sitting alone and he recalls his mind, so his ilmi quwwat once again gives him the same feeling of fear, or the same feeling of anger, or the same feeling of happiness, or the same feeling of grief. Got it? Because his nafs, he has imprinted that on itself. Got it? So for example, something happened and somebody caused you an anger. You showed your anger as well. And then even a few days passed, but you were sitting there and suddenly that map came into your mind. So once again, you are feeling the same anger. Yes or not? Or you are feeling the same fear which you feared a few days before. Got it? That is because of quwa ilmi in your nature, that they are giving you the same feelings. Got it or not it? So then Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says, now these grimes or rings of those, or asar of those, they are imprinted on his nafs. So the days and nights are passing, and this guy, he does not have a spare time to think of his correction and perfection and to proceed ahead. To think of his correction and perfection and to proceed ahead. So Imam Rahmatullahi alayh, he says that sometime he is that much got stuck in that quagmire that he cannot come out of that situation for his life long. He is in that situation. Sometime that anger, 10 years passed. And that's why somebody who disrespected your father in public, years passed, but the moment you will see the guy, the same anger will come to you again. Yes, and sometime if your nafs has the ishrab means drinking therefrom, he has drinking therefrom a lot. So sometime suddenly after a few years, what happened? Why he killed him? Like 16 years before, he insulted his father in the bazaar. But they were, coming in front of one another, nothing like that happened. Bro, that thing was in his mind. Yes, when he went out of control, it depends. Got it? That sometime back, his holding on his nafs was a little bit strong. But now as he became aged, so he couldn't control himself, and he jumped on the guy and just shooted him. Got it or not it? So Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says that even though sometime the personal nature of a person, because of that, his nafs is that much stuck in his personal nature that he is not looking at the custom and riwaj as well. That what the society is doing, he doesn't care. And if you will condemn him for that non-care, he does not care again. Got it? And Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says, so now this thing is called the nafs. This thing is called nafs. Then Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says that such like person, he cannot go towards quwwat aqila and quwwat amila because he is stuck in that quagmire. He is stuck in that quagmire. So Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says, فَإِذَا فَتَحَ حَدَقَ بَصِيرَتِهِ. But one is basarat, look, that is in your eyes. And your eyes, you have the balls. Yes, the black balls. And in between the ball, the small black dot, what is that called? Say. How spell? P-U-P-I-L, yes, pupil. Yes. And pupil is also student also. Yes or not? So it means that people should be like the hadaqa of the eye for the teacher. You are my pupil. Yes. So anyhow, that's called hadaqa. That's called what? Hadaqa. So now, as we mentioned before, that human being, he has two types of senses. Outer senses and inner senses. And as we mentioned before time and again, that the human heart, it has its own brain as well. Yes or not? It has its own brain as well. And not only brain, it has invisible eyes, invisible ears as well. فإنها لا تعمى الأبصار ولكن تعمى القلوب التي في الصدور. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says actual blindness is not that of the eyes. Actual blind are those whose hearts are blind. So it means some invisible eyes are there. Yes, same way, some invisible ears are there. As Mawlana Rum said, ke in sakhunnas goshi dil bayat shunud, goshi gil in jana darad hej sood, goshi gil ba jumla hewa ham damas, goshi dil makhsus nasle adamas. That human, they have goshi dil. What is gosh? The ear. So their hearts, they have the ears as well. So Imam Rahmatullah alayhi says, now seeing with these eyes, that is called basarat. But seeing with the eyes of heart, that is called basirat. فَإِذَا فَتَحَ حَدَقَةَ بَصِيرَتِهِ. When he will open the hadaqa, or the pupil of his heart. أَبْصَرَ فِي أَوَّلِ الْأَمْرِ. So he saw in the very beginning, قَوْمَهُ, his people, فِي إِرْتِفَاقَاتٍ, that they have different ways of life, وَزِيًّا, different type of dresses, وَمُبَاهَاتٍ, and they are competing one another, وَفَضَائِل, they have virtues, مِنَ الْفَصَاحَاتِ, like eloquencies, وَالصَّنَاعَاتِ, or some people, they are wise or skillful people, فَوَقَعَتْ مِنْ قَلْبِهِ بِمَوْقِعٍ عَظِيمٍ. So these things in his heart, it takes a respectable place. It takes a respectable place. وَاسْتَقْبَلَهَا بِعَزِيمَةٍ كَامِلَةٍ, and he welcomes all these qualities with a strong azima and strong will. وَهِمَّةٍ قَوِيَّةٍ, himma is also azimat. وَهَذَا حِجَابُ الرَّسَمِ. So Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says that is called the barrier of rasam and usage of the community. Got it? That they have the customs. وَيُسَمَّى بِالدُّنْيَا, and this is called dunya. And that's why in our Pashto even, if he is living in a community, so they have their different rusum and different customs. Yes, if somebody, he is planning not to do this custom, so the people, the elders or whatever his friends are, they are telling him that our elder said that go out of the town and don't live there, but don't go out of their customs. Got it? When you are living in Roman, so live like, you don't know this? Yeah. That living in Roman, so live like Romans. Living in Romans, so they say, live like Romans. Yeah. When you are here, when we are coming here, so we are putting on our dresses. Got it? Otherwise, when we are going to offices and here and there, so what we do? The American dress. Got it? So these are called customs. These are called what? These are the rusum and the customs. So thus the Roman said that living in Rome, so live like Romans. Got it? So in Pashto we say, I translated that. But the actual wording is, with the kuli uza, khuda riwaja mauza. They go out of the village, but don't go out of your rasam and your custom. Because then for you, living is very difficult. Then for you, living is very difficult. That no, this guy, look, he didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Now look, in Afghan culture, if somebody married and he had not the walima, so the people are making a fun of him because the walima and the yeah, so they say, what type of marriage that is? What type of marriage that is? And that was our case as well. It was our, if a girl went after some boy on her own without asking the parents and things that so far that is looking very bad in our culture. Yes or not? Sure. So if somebody, he will do marriage and he will not arrange to slaughter 1 or 2 buffaloes and to have 20 big dags of 30 kilo each. Yes, and the people are coming and they are eating and things like that. If he will not do that, yes, so that type of girl is called matiza. In our language, that is called matiza and looking very bad. Looking, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive and forbid and protect our izzah. So anyhow, if that happened to a family, so for them that is very difficult then to live in the area. Got it? Otherwise, I say that that is not the case that you should blame the whole family for that and things like that. Anyhow, so now, if the proper marriage took place, but no walima, or no, we call it khairat. We call it what? Khairat. Yes, that no khairat and no walima. So then the people are making, not in front of them, but he say, his son married. No, that is like he brought a matiza. Yes. Why? Because the walima is, oh bro, he does not have anything. How we can arrange walima? Yes. Now that is good, especially in Pakistan. That in certain areas, that there are organizations, local organizations. So they are arranging the marriages of poor people. Yes, so they are arranging the food and they are giving them the jewelry and giving them the dresses and the furniture and all their needs. Yes. So anyhow, so now Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ So فَإِذَا فَتَحَ حَدَقَةَ بَصِيرَتِهِ When he will open the pupil of his basirat absara fi awwal al-amr, so he saw in the first glance, qawmahu, his people, fi irtifaqatin, in different ways of life, waziyan, dress, wa mubahatin, competition, wa fazail, virtues, min al-fasahat, eloquency in speech, wa sana'at, or skill in different skills. فَوَقَعَتْ مِنْ قَلْبِي بِمَوْضِعٍ عَظِيمٍ And these things that take a place, a great place, a respectable place in his heart. وَاسْتَقْبَلَ بِعَزِيمَةٍ قَامِلَةٍ وَهِمَّةٍ قَوِيَّةٍ And he welcome all these things with the strong will. So mean accepted. وَهَذَا حِجَابُ الرَّسْمِ And this is the curtain of rasm. وَيُسَمَّى بِالدُّنْيَا And this is called dunya, as I told you, that they say that the dunya na uza, yeah, the kali na uza, go out of the village or go out of dunya, but don't go out of custom. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ And some of the people, مَنْ لَا يَزَالُ مُسْتَغْرِقًا فِي ذَلِكَ He is mustaghraq or diving or dipping therein constantly. Ila ayyati al-maut Until the death comes at him. Even though certain requirements of personal nature of a human and certain customs are going against Sharia. But he is mustaghraq in that and he is dipping in that for his whole life. So Imam Rahmatullahi alayhi says, Ila yati al-maut And till the death comes to him, فَتَزُورُ تِلْكَ الْفَضَائِلُ بِأَسْرِهَا So all these qualities which he had adopted, it had nothing to do with his nafs natiqah. Because for nafs natiqah, the fazail and the virtues are that of Sharia. And he has never adopted it. He was going against Sharia. Adopting these customs are the requirement of his personal nature. So Imam Rahmatullah says, all these things are related to his body, not to his nafs natiqah. So now the body is dead. The body is dead. So Imam Rahmatullah says, فَتَبْزُوا تِلْكَ الْفَضَائِلِ All these khisal and these virtues are gone بِأَسْرِهَا بِتَمَامِهَا لِأَنَّا لَا تَتِمُّ إِلَّا بِالْبَدَنِ وَالْآلَاتِ Because these things are done with body and with tools. Organs are tools. فَتَبْقَ النَّفْسُ عَارِيَةً So now his nafs natiqah, it remained totally naked. لَيْسَ بِهَا شَيْءٌ Which does not have anything imprinted on that. وَصَارَ مَسَلُوا كَمَسَلِ ذِي جَنَّةٍ أَصَابَ إِعْصَارٌ This is iqtibas from Holy Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us an example that those who are making charity but for name and fame. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that just like a garden, somebody developed and established a garden, but a tornado came and burnt it totally. So وَلَهُ ذُرِّيَّةٌ ضُعَفَاء وَلَهُ Say after that فَأَصَابَ إِعْصَارٌ فِيهِ نَارٌ فَاحْتَرَقَتْ كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ Lakum ayati. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, I'm giving you this example that is just like a tornado came and burned the whole garden, and he had small kids where from they will be eating now. So those who are doing charity but for name and fame, so they establish a garden and burnt it later on with a tornado. Got it? Allah has given such like example. So Imam Rahmatullah alayh, he fixed that example here. That this guy is just like a Masali Jannah, like the owner of that garden, Asaba Asaran, where the tornado happened to it, or Karamadin, or he was just like the guy, or his amal are just like Karamadin, like ashes. Ishtaddat bi rihu fi yawmin asif, a strong wind happened to him in a very dry day. فإن كان شديد التنبه عظيم الفتنة استيقن بدليل البرهان. This is a little bit difficult. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.